On Sunday, May 21st, 2017, soothing sunshine warmed an estimated crowd of 600 people gathered at the north end of Pawtucket's Slater Park. The crowd converged to experience a moment essentially 50 years in the making. That spring afternoon, the ultimate sacrifices made in the Vietnam War by 21 former city residents were permanently memorialized as friends and family looked on. The emotional monument dedication capped a year-long effort led by a committee of military veterans from the city, along with 2 siblings of the 21 heroes. This small volunteer army sought to raise money for a monument honoring those 21 Pawtucket soldiers who had lost their lives 10,000 miles from home. Ultimately, $40,000 in private donations was collected in just a year's time, more than enough to accomplish the group's goal and to honor a town's fallen heroes.
We are one. We are one unit together. I too am a veteran, submarine service 1966 through 1970. I'm forming this company this afternoon. We have a single purpose and a single mission today, which is to perpetuate the memory of 21 of our own who made the ultimate sacrifice in service to the nation.
On March 8th, 1965, the 9th Marine Expeditionary Brigade landed on the beach at Da Nang in South Vietnam. From that day until April 30th, 1975, there would be 3,705 St. Crispin days. 3,705. To my Brander brothers on this magnificent monument, and to my brothers who stand with me today and who've raised their hands here at Slater Park in the city of Pawtucket, welcome home.
Soldiers returning from deployment today are met at airports. Those demonstrations of thanks are appreciated, and they are very humbling. Unfortunately, those that served during the Vietnam War were seldom afforded that same demonstration of thanks. Their commitment to our nation was as absolute as those of those new officers that are commissioned this week. They served their families and their countries. They served in the shadow of America's greatest generation, those that fought in World War II and those that fought in Korea. Yet there were no crowds with greetings of thanks at our airports. Indeed, many of them, unfortunately, were treated with hostility. Even sadder, for those that made the ultimate commitment and gave their lives to the service of our nation, like those that we honor here today, society was quick to move on from sacrifice and leave their families to continue to mourn with little support and recognition from the communities in which they lived. That is why what we're doing here today is so very special. And just by your attendance, whether you're wearing those covers, Marine terminology covers of a veteran, or you're here to support veterans, or you're here to honor our 21 heroes, that is helping to bring that equation back into balance for our Vietnam veterans. You're making a wonderful and open statement to these 21 heroes, those that they served with, and especially to their families who are here today. You're making a commitment that we do not forget.
One of the most painful scars of war is inflicted not on the veterans, but on the people who love that veteran. Most of those who die in war are young, whether a 20-year-old soldier or Marine or a middle-aged commander. We do know that they left us way too early. For what they lacked in time, they made up for in valor.
Today we have the opportunity to not only pause and reflect, but to remember and honor the memory of our brothers, Pawtucket's 21 fallen heroes. They are the husbands, the fathers, sons, brothers, family members, and friends of many of you here today. From February 20th, 1961 to May 7th, 1975, members of our military fought alongside the South Vietnamese people to stop the spread of communism. More than 58,000 men and women gave the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. The tradition of service demonstrated by those who served provides lasting testimony to the spirit that resides in the hearts of all of our Vietnam veterans. Pawtucket's 21 fallen heroes are everyday people, made extraordinary by events, prompted by circumstances beyond their control. They fought for freedom, not out of bravado or boldness, but out of sense of duty, and because they had a deep and abiding love for their country. Quite simply, they believed in the promise of the American dream and the essential goodness of America. Vietnam veterans fought to preserve democracy and freedom, not just here in America, but for all freedom-seeking people around the world. Today we come together once again, not just as a community, but as family. This memorial allows the souls of those we deeply love, whose names are enshrined on this beautiful monument, to exist once more among family and friends in the peace and comfort of familiar surroundings, our home. As we dedicate this memorial to our Vietnam servicemen, we pay honor to their service. But let us not forget that it was not for memorials or special occasions that these heroes served. It was for their country.
I keep telling people I wrote a book to remember the city's 21 heroes, and I thought that would be the end of it, but the book turned into a monument, and it became a monument because of all you people here who took an interest, and you all grew up, it seemed, with one of the 21 heroes. The donations were amazing, and my mission today is to thank some of the people who really helped get this project done. And I'm going to start with our monument people. Cranston Monument Company, owned by Anthony Sciolto and his son Tony. We wanted something that was similar in some ways to the Vietnam Monument with the black African stone. And Tony drew up a design of the monument on the back of a sheet of paper, and he stuck with that vision, and there is his work right there, the Sciolto family. And then next on my list is my barber, John Petteruti, who John's a Vietnam veteran who never wants to talk about his part in the war. He was an infantryman and saw some bad stuff. So like a lot of guys, he doesn't talk about it. But when I told him we were building a monument, he put a jar in his shop and raised $3,300 for our monument. So Madeline Mondor really jump-started our monument fundraising last summer when she donated $5,000 in memory of Ben Mondor, her husband, the late Pawtucket owner, and a true friend of mine and all of us. So thank you, Madeline. And I want to thank Dr. Charles Steinberg and Kim Miner and Mike Tamboro and Grace Eng especially for what you guys have done.
The day's most solemn moments came as the roll call was presented. With this reading, those 21 brave young Rhode Island men were memorialized forever. An audible accompaniment to the visual record of their names etched into the black stone front of a 6-ton granite monument.
We're going to start with Gloria Massimino, who was Tony's older sister, and today is 51 years to the day that Tony became the city's first casualty in the Vietnam War. So, Gloria.
Lance Corporal Antonio Massimino Jr., USMC.
United States Marine, Private First Class Ronald Pierce. When my brother enlisted in the Marines, he came home and told my parents he was going to make them very proud. He certainly did. It is with great pride and a heavy heart that I stand here today with my family and to touch his name on this beautiful monument. I think of him and miss him every day. Thank you to all who made this possible. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, everyone, for coming today. God bless.
That's Norman Plant Army. 50 years ago, on April 28, I lost my big brother and my best friend. It's like it happened yesterday, but I'm thanking Terry Noah for helping me heal this wound that has been so difficult. I miss you, Norman, and I love you.
And Charles Yagubian Jr., United States Marine Corps.
Army Specialist for Raymond Michaelopoulos, U.S. Army. Ray, we all love you and we miss you, as I'm sure all the other families here feel the same. You were like an older brother to me and deeply loved. We'll all miss that big smile on your face and the happiness you gave all of us. God bless you and all the other fallen heroes today.
For Army Private First Class Robert Renault, his 3 siblings.
So I'm here for my brother Billy, who is the 7th name on the monument today. It's good that there's a place for them now, that they can be recognized for their sacrifice, that they can be recognized for what they gave to this country, to this city, because they gave everything. It's nice to be able to have another place besides the cemetery to come and sit with them. We miss you, Billy.
Thank you. And now we have for Army Specialist 4th Class James Kavanaugh, his younger sister Louise.
Specialist 4th Class James Vincent Kavanaugh, Army. Love you, brother.
Thank you. Go over and say hello to the general. Okay, now for Robert O'Brien, we never really found his family because his parents predeceased him and he was an only child. But Joe Shoddick of the VFW grew up on the street with Robert.
Captain Robert O'Brien, United States Army. A good friend and neighbor.
Good job. Also, Army Lieutenant Colonel Walter Pritchard is going to be represented by the Adams boys.
Lieutenant Colonel Walter Pritchard, Jr., United States Army. A soldier and a scholar, West Point class of 1957. He received a master's degree in English literature from Columbia University before returning to West Point to teach English before his assignment to Vietnam.
Okay, now we're going to have Major General Broadmeadow is going to come over and stand up for Marine Lance Corporal James William Dean, and we also have his cousin Mina.
Lance Corporal James Dean, United States Marine Corps, a man who died coming to the aid of his fellow Marines.
Speaking for Jack Hume is his wife Ellen and his son John, and granddaughter Maddie, and nephew Michael.
Second Lieutenant John William Hume III, United States Marine Corps, and a true son of Pawtucket. Very, very proud to be here to share this memorial with everybody. Thank you.
for Army First Lieutenant Thomas Patrick Gill, our two friends from town.
Thank you, Terry. When you read Tom's story, so ably documented in Terry's book, you see the principles that guided his life in terms of risking his own life to save one of his troops during a river operation, and in the final chapter of Tommy's life, rushing towards the source of the gunfire that ultimately took that life. On this monument, Tommy is memorialized as a soldier and a leader to those of us who are fortunate enough to have known him. He's all of that, as well as a loving and devoted son, a brother, and such a great friend. Thank you, Terry.
Now we have the Taylor family. Bobby Taylor was the youngest of 7 children, I believe. He died in Vietnam, and we have his brother Jack and the siblings. They're all here. Come on. A good Irish family.
Hi, on behalf of my brother Bobby and my brother Jack and Rich and all the others that have gone before us, and my sister Joan, we want to thank each and every one of you for coming out for such a beautiful day. Thank you. Where is it?
Take it with you.
First of all, I want to thank everybody for being here today. I want to thank my brother for protecting us. God bless you, Jackie. God bless the USA.
William Haslam.
Special as Albert Haslam. I'm his brother William and very much missed.
Thank you, William. Thank you very much. We're now honoring the highest ranked soldier from Rhode Island to fall in the Vietnam War.
You've already heard from us, but Brigadier General Carroll Edward Adams, Jr., a soldier, scholar, and servant leader.
And now for Valentino Lascola Jr. is his niece Julie and the rest of the family. John Riley, who is a Vietnam veteran. Come on, guys.
Specialist 4th Class Valentino J. Lascola Jr., Army.
Tomorrow marks the 47th anniversary of Val's death, and listening to everyone speak today brought to mind a saying of some gave all and all gave some, and I'll get it right. The bottom line is that one cousin, Gus Lascola, and another cousin, John Riley, came home. Val did not. He made the ultimate sacrifice, and there's no forgetting any of the 21. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Okay, our next one is for Johnny Maloney, Tolman, 1968. Is his family nearby? Okay. Our next soldier is Army First Lieutenant Richard Stephen Dyer. And his brother Ed Dyer will speak for Richard.
My grandson, Jay.
And his grandson Jay Pettingill will have something.
First Lieutenant Richard Dyer, Army. On behalf of my grandfather and our entire family, we're happy to see Richard honored through this beautiful memorial. Thank you for everyone who had a part in making this happen. He'll always be our hearts, and God bless all of the 21 Pawtucket veterans.
The roll call reading of those 21 names ended with 13-year-old Michael Dalton speaking his grandfather's name into a microphone in front of the monument.
First Lieutenant Michael Dalton, Army, my grandfather.
In his book, They Heard the Bugle's Call, Terry now quotes a poem written by one of the memorialized Pawtucket soldiers, Army Specialist 4th Class Norman Plant. Plant had penned these heartbreaking words to his parents in advance of his death. "Don't cry for me now that I'm gone. The bugle called and I heard its song."